going to be learning how to dose and pack a shot using a Mars Super Jelly. Now, the first thing to notice on all grinders is we can adjust the collar to determine whether our grind is going to be coarse or fine. One way is going to make the shot run fast, one is going to slow it down to almost nothing. The easiest way to explain this is if we look at, on the left here we have some pebbles, on the right we have some sugar. One's coarse, one's fine. If we pour the same amount of water into the two different vessels, one gushes out straight to the bottom, the other one takes its time getting through. Now it's our job with the grinder to find that exact spot, the exact fineness or coarseness in the grind so that we can have our shot running the speed that we want it to. Now with these grinders, they were designed originally to fill this entire dosing chamber to the top with freshly ground coffee, and each one of these little compartments would have 6 grams of coffee in it. So you could go 1, 2, and a third one, and you would have 18 grams of coffee. Now the technique we're going to be learning with the Super Jelly is a technique called grind on demand. So we're going to turn on our grinder, give it a slight head start while we're purging our group head over to the left here and wiping out our portafilter. We'll slide it underneath here and we're just going to be basically fluffing it up. So we're just pushing all the fresh grind into the top of the basket. It gets to about 3/4 full, we're going to give it a little double tap. It's just going to collapse it a little bit. Then we're going to overfill the entire thing. We might spill a little bit out of the edge. Switch off the grinder and bring it up to the top. I'm just going to use the flat edge, 2 taps again, and a nice flush flat scrape across just to make it nice and even. A little polish with the fingers and we're ready to tamp the shot. Now again from the side, grinders on, filling up the basket. When we get to 3/4 full, double tap, keep going, fill it up over the top, a bit more. Grinder off, bring it up to the top, 2 taps, a nice flat clean wipe. Little polish off and we're good to go. Now it's important to talk about, sure you can tap it twice, overfill it, tap it twice again on the top. That's not necessarily gospel, but it's important to be consistent. You could tap it 15 times and collapse it, fit as much coffee in there as you possibly can, bring it back up to the top, tap it another 15 times, that's also fine. But it means you have to do it that many times every time. And it's all about keeping those consistencies and getting rid of any variables. Now if we've just run a shot of espresso out of the portafilter, it's going to be wet. Now if we're going to come down, we're going to bring this little tiny bit down and touch the mat. It's going to grab any leftover grind that's sitting there, and it's going to be the first thing to go into your freshly made espresso. So instead we're going to use this corner here. We're going to butt it up against the corner of the mat, nice and firm with our thumb, nice and tight, and a good grip. Now what we're going to do is we grab our tamp, we're going to go up, down in a nice swift motion. Slight resistance is going to be applied, but it's kind of like if you're moving on the couch and you're just shifting positions, just that much weight. It's not too important how hard or soft you do. Twist and up. Just push down once, nice twist and up. Give it a nice polish with our hand and we're ready to pack the shot. Now there's huge debate over whether pushing hard or soft when you're tamping determines how fast or slow the flow rate's going to be. At the end of the day, we're just trying to push out enough pressure that we're getting rid of any little air pockets that might be inside, hidden underneath all the grind. And also it's just to get that nice, flat, firm bed. I've worked with people who tamp with a really soft wrist. I've worked with people that put their entire body weight onto it. All it essentially does is slow down the flow rate at the very beginning because you're creating a gap in the top of the portafilter. Now we just lock in our portafilter, hit our shot, get our cups underneath, and watch the espresso go.